What I'm gaining from this conversation is that pretty much each one of these platforms have like different features, and some of them
Absolutely.
pay, some of them don't. So it's more so about what do you want to utilize whenever you're posting on these platforms.
You definitely have to have a strategy.
Hello,
Hello, and
and
welcome
welcome
back
back
to
to
the
the
2
Two
Cents
Cents
Podcast.
Podcast.
I'm Hannah Williams.
And I'm James Daniels.
And this week, we're going to be talking about how much different social media channels pay us. If you didn't know, YouTube is actually not our biggest platform. Our biggest platform is TikTok. We are more short form creators. And I had recently shared on our Instagram stories that I received a receipt, like a bonus payment from Instagram. And if you want to guess how much that nice little bonus was, James, 1 cent.
1 cent. Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I shared it on our stories, and obviously, a lot of you were like, what the heck? Like, how do people even make money on social media? So, I thought it would be helpful for me to compile how much have we made in all of October, and from platforms where I was able to see how much have we made in the entire last year. How much did these social media channels pay us? And give you a realistic look at what that looks like for creators of our size.
But first, a word from our sponsor, Capital One Café.
Looking for the best present you can give yourself this holiday season? Capital One Café has you covered with their Holiday Staycation Sweepstakes, a local getaway package designed to help you unwind and recharge. The prize includes a 2-night hotel stay, dinner at a restaurant, a $500 gift card for holiday shopping, and 1 year of free coffee at any Capital One Café. Entries are open November 3rd through December 15th at CapitalOneCafeSweeps.com.
All right, we are back. I have my laptop, and as a former data analyst, you know that I brought my laptop and I created a spreadsheet so I could track this accurately. But I think we should start with the platforms that don't pay us anything, so we can
Okay.
just knock those out the way. I should also add that these are the platforms that we are active on, so I can give you the full list. So that includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Snapchat. We have a show on Snapchat. So we don't just like post on our stories like regular Snapchat people. We have like one of those shows that you watch in the Snapchat app. So starting with the channels that pay us nothing, they don't have creator payout programs at all. Those include Threads and LinkedIn.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too. For the longest, I remember you telling me that LinkedIn doesn't pay creators.
Not at all. And I think that that is changing. So, a year from now, this might not be accurate information. I do think LinkedIn is working on ways to pay creators, but it is still kind of a struggle for us because it's a little bit different where LinkedIn has company pages and then personal pages. So Salary Transparency is a company page, technically. I don't post all the Salary Transparency videos on my channel, Hannah Williams, because that's my professional page. So I do think that if they do start allowing creators to monetize, we might even have more hurdles to jump through to allow STS to monetize because it would be a company page that they just don't allow the same privileges. Like a lot of features that have come out on LinkedIn on my personal account, I had to fight tooth and nail to get access to for the STS page. So TBD, LinkedIn is a work in progress, but Threads, we don't use Twitter. Threads doesn't pay us at all. Nothing.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah. And just to give you a look at how many subscribers we have there, we have 151,000 subscribers on Threads and 34,000 subscribers on our LinkedIn page. So,
That's a lot of people to follow us for us not to be paid.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This one's going to hurt then because I think the next one we should cover is the platform that pays us the least. Can you guess what that platform is?
If I had to guess, I would probably say that it's Instagram.
Ding, ding, ding. It is Instagram. So on Instagram, we have a little over 1 million followers. So 1 million followers, keep that in mind. In all of October, we received over 2 million views on our content, 2,061,717 views. And in all of October, for all those 2 million views, we were paid 33 cents.
You see, and that's a big issue right there, right? Because I know Instagram has the money.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you paying your creators? That's over 2 million views for the whole month. Like, come on.
Yeah. We are like part of a creator fund. That's the one that whenever we get a bonus payment, it says creator fund, but it's like 10 cents here, $7 here. I looked at what the entire year to date is from last October, and I calculated like a bunch of these different random bonus amounts that we got. And so the total amount, even though I can't see how many views, Instagram won't let me see how many views we had in the last year, but you can guess, if we got 2 million in October, it's probably well over 20 million. We were paid $69 for the
Yeah.
entire year.
And if you're a creator and you're listening to this and you're actually making money on Instagram, please tell us how.
Yeah. Tell us how.
Tell us
Because
how.
some creators have told me that they do make money on Instagram. And I think that this leads to a really important clarification because there are different ways to monetize on social media. We're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. Like, if you're not making money on views, how do you make money on Instagram? Because I have heard some creators who say, I make X amount on Instagram, but really what they mean is they make money from brand partnerships on their Instagram page. So what we're talking about here is how much do the platforms pay us per view, not brand partnerships, not things that we're selling on our page. It's how much does the platform pay us per view?
Yeah, for views, and that's with or without ads.
Yeah. So if you have a creator that you know who says, I make X amount on yada yada, it's an important clarification to be like, well, how do you make that money? Is it from views? Is it from brand partnerships? Because that's where the money comes in that we'll touch on in a little bit. All right. So the next platform that pays us the least is kind of a surprising one, actually. I think a lot of people here watching on YouTube might be surprised. I think I just gave it away. It is YouTube. And I also want to add another note here that we are not long form creators. A lot of creators on YouTube will make way more money than us because they're posting, really long videos that get many thousands of views every single month. We are short form creators, and those pay a lot less on YouTube Shorts than long form content. So that's an
Yeah.
important distinction.
Yeah, and it also like we feel as though YouTube does require a lot more work,
Yes.
on both the front end and on the back end. So it makes sense as to why we're not making as much on YouTube. But I do know people with smaller followings than us who get roughly around the same amount of views, maybe
Yeah.
maybe even more, but it's just because they put that effort in there.
Yeah, they have the long form content, which definitely pays so much better. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you have a long 20-minute video, there's way more opportunities for YouTube to put in ads versus a short form minute and 30 seconds. Like, it's not going to pay nearly as much. And so, what that actually comes out to is we have 212,000 subscribers on YouTube. In all of October, we received over a million views, a little bit over a million, and we received payment for that million views of $177.06.
So not enough to live off of, but enough to be able to pay for a few coffees throughout the month.
And yeah, if you do this full time, if you're doing it year round, I was able to see this is the one thing that YouTube does really well is their analytics are so above and beyond any other platforms. Like anything you want to learn about your community, your views, retained, viewers, they have it all there. So they do actually let me see how much we make per year and how many views we received in the year. So looking back at the entire year up till now, we've received over 72 million views. 72,449,775 views. And for all of those 72 million views, our total payment was actually $20,266.
20,000?
Yes. So
Okay.
when you look at the month of October, you're like 177, what? But that was for a million views. If you have a good month here, a good month there, and then you pull it all together, you can make a couple $1,000. $20,000 isn't any chump change.
Yeah, you said that we since the beginning of the year we got about 77,000 views or 77 million views.
So since end of
Sorry,
October to now, we received 72.5 million views.
that's a lot.
Yeah, but a
That's
lot of those were on short form.
yeah. So make long form videos.
Yeah. And if you actually want to know how much, like, I also calculated because I'm kind of a nerd, how much money you make per view. And for October, our money per view was 0.0002 cents per view. But then if you look at it as a whole year, our cents per view went up to 0.003 cents per view.
Ooh.
Ooh. So
Ooh.
everyone watching, thank you for paying us 3 cents.
Not even 3 cents. It's point zero zero.
It's like
3 cents.
2.5. But yeah, so I do like that they let us see the whole year to date view of that. And technically, I could go to our accountants and ask for what the year to date looks like for all of these, but we just didn't have the time. And I feel like this, the dollar per view calculation gives us a good sense of how much that would look like.
Yeah, it definitely does.
All right, next on the list for the platform that pays us the most after YouTube is actually Facebook. So, Facebook, surprisingly, is one of those sleeper socials, I think, where a lot of people have forgotten about it, but they have put a lot of effort into pushing short form content, making it easy to cross post, from your Instagram to your Facebook. And they also pay you for views on stories, which Instagram does not let you receive any payment on stories, neither does TikTok. So I have been leveraging the fact that we get paid for views on stories and we get paid a little bit more on short form, even though I technically don't even use Facebook as a social user. It's still paying, so I'm still posting.
Oh, definitely. And what I'm gaining from this conversation is that pretty much each one of these platforms have like different features, and some of them
Absolutely.
pay, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So it's more so about what do you want to utilize whenever you're posting on these platforms.
You definitely have to have a strategy. And, I say don't focus entirely on the payment. The payment will come after. You have to really fall into your creative and figure out what your path is as a creator. I wouldn't focus on the money because it's not really that much. But once you build a strong platform, the views will follow and that payment will follow as well.
Yeah, but what I was ultimately meaning is use all of your
Hmm.
resources when it comes to posting on these platforms, because like she's just said, Facebook pays for story posting. Like
Hmm.
I didn't even know that,
Yeah.
and I work with you, so
Yeah. So if you post a lot of stories, it would make a lot of sense to, if you have an Instagram account, make sure that you also have a Facebook business account and try to get monetized there. But so, with 499,200 subscribers on Facebook, in October, our videos were viewed about 1.5 million times. And for those 1.5 million views, we were paid $359. The dollar per view is actually similar to YouTube here. It's identical. It's 0.0002 cents per view.
Okay, yeah. So that seems like it's probably about the average that they want to use to determine how much to pay out per view.
Yeah, about 0.0002 cents per view.
So if you do your own calculations and you want to be able to do this full time, like you have to take that into account. How many views would you need to bring in on a regular basis
Hmm.
on top of, other avenues of bringing in sources of income like partnerships?
Yeah, totally. And that's where it really comes into play. And we'll touch on that at the end.
Yeah,
But let's follow up with our next one. Of the last two socials that we've got, can you guess which one pays us the second most?
I'm going to guess Snapchat.
You're wrong. It's TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah. So on TikTok, we have 1.5 million followers. And in October, we received 4.2 million views. And also, I can see the entire year to date. So we'll compare that in a second. But for 4.2 million views in October, we received $677.
Okay.
Yeah.
The pace stepping up a little bit, so that's about what, twice as much as Facebook almost?
Yeah, with over double the views.
Yeah.
I do think I should add this important caveat, though, that this is just looking at October as the second highest paying. I think that TikTok may end up being our highest paying overall. But even though I was able to look at the year to date views and the year to date earnings, there's a really important thing that I want to mention. A little slight tangent here, but I guess it adds more color to what it is to be a creator and how to work with these platforms. So, story time. Last year, around this time actually last year, when we were applying for our verification badge, our blue check mark on TikTok, I was going back and forth with TikTok to get the verification badge. You have to apply, you have to prove that you're a real person, yada, yada. But when I was getting the check, they told me that we had to be a business account in order to get the blue check mark. You remember this?
Yeah.
And I told them that makes no sense. Like, explain Alex Earl and these other people who are able to have personal pages with blue check marks. Like, even though Salary Transparency is a company, it's not a business page. We are still creators. And the reason that I really put my foot down on this is because I knew that business platforms were paid differently than personal pages. And also, if you are a business page on TikTok, you can't use the fun sounds. You only get access to like commercial sounds. So it would really limit our page. But they kept telling me, don't worry about that. That's not going to be a problem. You're still going to have access to this, but you have to change your account to a business page. So, all in all, we were getting a lot of pressure also because there were a lot of fake accounts out there, and you couldn't report the fake accounts because nobody could report that they were impersonating us, because you can only choose an impersonated account that has a blue check mark. So there was a lot of pressure for us to get that blue check mark. I said, okay, sounds good. We'll see what happens. We accept the blue check mark. We become a business page. Right off the bat, we weren't allowed to use any of the fun sounds. So that was a struggle. But I was like, okay, as long as we have the blue check mark and we're still monetizing, it's okay. We monetized all the way up to June. And right around July, we noticed, where did our paycheck go? We didn't get a paycheck in July. I waited a little bit longer. I was like, maybe it's late. In August, we still didn't get a paycheck. So I reached out to TikTok and they told me, well, you're a business account. You can't monetize. So you can imagine the back and forth here of pulling up receipts, telling them, you told me to do this. You told me that it wouldn't be a problem. Also, I've monetized for the past few months. How has this become an issue? All in all, they told me, you have to switch back to a personal account, lose your blue check mark, and then reapply and we'll fix it. That took several months. So we actually didn't monetize at all on our account between about June to, I'd say, September, October. We
Yeah, that
missed
sounds about
all
right.
of that. So when I look at the year to date views and the year to date earnings on TikTok, it's only 26.3 million views, when really this is going to hurt. In the last year, our views on TikTok were over 99 million, but we only had 26.3 qualifying views, meaning the views that qualified in the time that we were allowed to monetize. So we lost about 70 million potential views to make money on. But I digress. With that 26.3 million views, we made in the last year on TikTok $22,665,000.
That's a pretty good paycheck.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't say that it's enough to live off of, but like we
hmm
said, that's because there's other things that go into funding being a creator, you know?
Yeah. And this is where TikTok, I think, is a higher earner potential than YouTube, because even though we made, looking at the year to year comparison, the only two that I'm able to look at, remember, YouTube in the last year with 72 million views, we made $20,000. And then compared to TikTok with 26.3 million views, we made $22,000. So we actually made more money on TikTok with a fraction, like a third of the views on YouTube. And the dollar per view is way higher, right? So the dollar per view on YouTube for the year to date is $0.0003 per view. On TikTok, it's 0.001 cent per view.
3 cents versus 1 cent per view is a whole lot different, especially when it comes to talking about millions.
Yeah. I mean, that's 26 million views. Imagine if we had actually monetized our full 99 million. That
Yeah.
number would have been $60,000.
All right, so tell me, what is Snapchat bringing us in there?
All right, so Snapchat, I cannot see the year to date, but we can see what October looks like. And we had no glitches in our earnings, so we can make an estimate, which I will at the end of this. But our highest earner is Snapchat with 16,000 followers, our smallest following of all the 7 platforms, and 92,000 views, also the smallest views of all of October across all platforms. We made $1,889.
Wow.
Yep. We
That's a
made
whole
so
lot
much more
different.
money.
Yeah, that's a whole lot different. And
Yep.
that's really surprising too, considering the audience size and the views.
Yep. And it's also a higher dollar per view. It's 0.02 cents per view.
Mm.
So a lot higher. And I feel like we had really consistent months. So I'm just going to multiply what we made in October times 12 to give us an idea. That's fascinating. If I could have seen the total amount, it probably would have been around $22,674, which is just slightly more than what we made for the entire year on TikTok.
That is crazy. Like she said in the beginning, we have a Snapchat show. So it's not us posting on our personal Snapchats and getting views that way. We actually had to go through the process of finding somebody with a show
Mhm.
and then figuring that whole split out. So now we have a show,
Yeah.
like it's the towels. So you have to pretty much be invited. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's what I would consider it as, being invited.
100%. That's what it is. Snapchat will either invite you if you are already a well known creator, and they'll tell you, hey, like, how about you launch a show on Snapchat? A lot of times, though, before we received our own show, we were propositioned by a lot of creators who already had a tile. Like, they were like, yeah, like, I have a show slot with Snapchat. If you want to post your show here, we'll split the earnings. And I was like, no, why would I do that?
Well, also, that was because how much were they asking?
50%, like splitting 50-50. And I was like, so I'm going to give you 50% of that just because you have access. Like, I'm not really interested in that. So we waited until we received, the opportunity from Snapchat directly to have our own tile. And now we keep 100%.
Sometimes patience pays off.
But to give you full color of everything, because we can say like Instagram pays us 33 cents and Facebook paid us $360, but when you cross post that same content, basically it's the same video posted across all these different channels. All in all, for all of October, despite the low earnings here and there, we made over $3,000.
And that's not bad at all. We're getting 3K a month just on views.
Right. So it sounds low, but then when you put it all together, if you have good months here and there, you can make a nice little side hustle earning.
Yeah,
It can pay rent for some people.
yeah, and then on top of that, like maybe on certain platforms, that content just hits a little bit different.
Mhm.
Like posting a short form video on YouTube isn't going to earn you as much, but
Mhm.
it'll earn you a lot more on TikTok.
Exactly. And we've had some videos that don't do well on certain platforms, but do really well on others. Like, I remember we had one compilation that went mega viral on Facebook, but not nearly the same amount of views on Instagram, which was okay because I was like, Instagram doesn't pay us anyway. So
Right.
I'd rather go viral on Facebook. And also, knowing what we know about how much we made on TikTok for the entire year, YouTube the entire year, Instagram the entire year, gas, and Snapchat, that total amount, not including, Facebook, because I can't see and it's probably going to be a lot higher, it's $65,000 for the entire year. So I would say that's a low estimate. I would say it's probably more around $70,000 a year, looking at 100 million views.
That is nice. Yeah, so with that, like if you did go creator full time, built a decent following, which I wouldn't suggest, you know,
And that doesn't
doing it.
happen overnight.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't suggest doing this in this order. But like if you went creator full time and then built a decent following, somehow secured yourself a Snapchat show and worked on your long form YouTube as well as cross posted across all platforms, you could definitely make enough without partnerships
Mhm.
alone to be able to sustain your life.
Yeah, I mean, there's also
It's
taxes.
right,
There's also a
taxes,
bunch of unexpected expenses, but
but then also you can't count on a video always hitting every
yeah.
month. So there's a lot of variables there, but like it could be done theoretically.
Yeah, I do wanna it's not lost on me though that we're just saying like, "Yeah, just get 100 million views and you'll make $65,000." Like, that's insane. That's, like, very high caliber I wouldn't even say high caliber, but we've been doing this 3.5 years now. We know our recipe, we rinse and repeat. We've really figured it out. I don't think we were making numbers like this when we first
Oh,
started.
definitely not.
And we definitely weren't monetizing when we first started because you have to hit certain numbers, you have to be invited into creator programs, and also the way that platforms pay out has changed drastically over time. We used to make way more money on TikTok actually. They had a higher earnout and now it's way smaller. I mean, it's 0.001 cent per view. So,
Yeah.
it used to be way higher.
Slight tangent. I heard that they're coming back out with Vine. So with
Yes.
that, I wonder, will they have a creator program
No, they
for
won't
they won't?
because actually, thank you for bringing this up because I love Vine. I loved it. It came out when I was in high school, so like, road work ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
sure
sure hope
hope it
it does.
does.
That was my life. But looking back now, it didn't make sense to me in the moment. because I didn't understand how creator earnings worked. Like I wasn't thinking about being a creator at the time. But I remember watching a documentary about like some Vine creators or something and like where they were now. And they had talked about one of the main reasons that Vine actually ceased to exist is because the Viners weren't being paid. They weren't making anything. So it was really on them to get partnerships outside in order to survive. And that's why a lot of them, dropped off after Vine closed because it's like, where do you go from there? That 6-second format doesn't always lend itself to Instagram. And at the time, Reels didn't exist. So it was really the original TikTok, but they didn't pay the creators. And if you don't pay them, they're eventually going to leave. I mean, that's what would happen right now, I think, with Instagram, but we're sustained by these other platforms that pay us. I'm still upset about it, though. If Instagram was my only option, I'd probably be looking at something else.
Yeah, well, I also think that they missed their window as well
Yeah.
because,
They were
like,
really early.
yeah, they were really early and, like, it definitely worked. So they ingrained themselves into a generation that fell in love with the short form content,
Yeah.
and that's us.
Yeah.
Like, now we're adults and
On
we
TikTok.
are right, we're being paid to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
So you can't go up to this new generation and be like, "Hey, we're not gonna pay you. Can you make 6-second videos?" Or come
Right.
back to us and be like, "Hey, remember that we didn't pay you, but
Come back.
come back." Like, it's a lot harder to make
No.
that argument.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I hope that they find a way to pay creators. That would be really great. Maybe we can go on Vine and that be our next platform. But as promised, we did talk about how to make money on social media outside of social media. So when people say I make X amount on Instagram, it's important to ask the clarification, is that from views or from brand partnerships? And that is a good segue. The number one way that we monetize on social media outside of views is brand partnerships. It's actually the number one way we monetize. That makes up about 96% of our revenue, I think, is what our recent
I think
calculation
it was
was.
97.
And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our brand partnerships are incredibly lucrative, not just because of the size of our following and our really strong engagement rate, but we bundle our packages. So, to give you a little bit of context, we charge $15,000 to $25,000 per video. That's our market rate. It really depends on who we're working with, what they're asking for, the amount of work that would go into the creation of the video, how many platforms they're cross posting on, if they want to post across all 7 that we have or just a few, if they want exclusivity, if they want paid usage rights, anything like that. We can make an episode about that if you're curious. But we'll be here all day if we go on that tangent. So that is why our market rate is 15 to 25K. Sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little bit less, but it usually falls within that rate. So that's what we charge per video. So if we do a couple of those a month, and in
Or
addition,
even one of those a month, like on top of the revenue that we get from all the platforms, we can bring in on a very slow month with, one paid partnership and content views, we could probably bring in about what?
50,000.
Yeah, about 50,000, which is
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
That's
that's
also
really good.
that's also business income though.
Right.
That's not like 50 grand to our pockets. Let me make sure that I say that because people are gonna be like, how can
Yeah,
you?
because we made $1.6 million from our business last year. Actually, we're about due for another update here soon in January. We'll see how we compared to last year. But last year we made 1.6 million. And I remember people saying, "You're a millionaire now." And I'm like, no, actually, I wish my business is worth a million, but we are an S Corp LLC. We're basically a business. So we're on salary. I make 150K a year.
I make 100,000 a year.
And that's what we make. If our business does really, really well, we do take a distribution at the end of the year. I think last year we took 100,000, maybe 150,000 as like our little bonus. And hopefully we'll take a similar distribution this year. But that's how much we're paying ourselves from our business that generates this much money. And the other way that you can make money on social media is through selling things, whether that's digital products, like downloads, guides, things like that, or it can be also your time, like consulting services, or physical products like merchandise or books or things like that. So you can sell things, you can partner with other brands, or you can make money solely off views. But if you combine it all together, you can make a good earning as a creator.
And if you'd like to learn more about like the ways that you can make money on social media as well as what these different ways actually bring in. We do live events, like she said. So, like, come to the live event, ask all the questions that you need to because we are a resource for you to be able to use.
Yeah, and what I love about the live events is it's actually sponsored by Capital One Café, so we get paid to give this live presentation, and it's free for all of you. One thing that we have really stuck to our guns with since day one has been never charging our community for access to information. We've actually never sold anything other than merch.
Other than merch, which didn't really sell.
We actually
But
lost money on merch.
yeah.
That's a story for another day. But we've never sold, a guide. We've never sold our salary database. Like all of that is free. So you don't have to sell things to make money, but you do have to have a strategy. So if you have any questions about that, I actually love helping creators kind of try to figure out how to make money, what strategy they want to go with. So let me know if you have any questions. I might drop into the comments and give you my 2 cents. But we hope that this episode gave you a really well rounded context of how much views actually pay on social media and what creators like our size with 3 million followers actually earn on a month to month basis.
And if you stuck around this long, we'd love to hear your 2 cents about this topic as always.
Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.